Hello students, I'm your tutor Sarah Adebola and you're welcome to another episode of Natural Skincare Formulation.
In the past few lessons, we have discussed measuring the pH, and you're probably asking how to measure the pH of skincare products. You're probably even wondering what pH is, when you need to measure it, and how to measure it. Today, you're going to discover the answers to these questions. What is pH? pH is a measure on a scale of 0 to 14 of how acidic or alkaline something is. A product with a pH of 7 is neutral. A pH of less than 7 is acidic, and a pH of greater than 7 is alkaline. pH is only measurable where water is present, as it indicates the concentrations of hydrogen ions. Our skin has a specific pH value which normally averages around pH 5 and varies from one body part to another and from one person to another. It even changes during the aging process. This acidic nature plays a vital role in maintaining a healthy skin. When do we need to measure the pH of skincare products? It is common practice to measure the pH of skincare products that contain water, such as creams, lotions, milks, cleansers, washes, scrubs, and the likes. You do not need to measure the pH of anhydrous products, which means products that do not contain water, as a pH by its definition is only measured in water. What pH should skincare products be? Oh, I get asked this question a lot. Some people are convinced that skincare products should be a neutral pH, which is pH 7. Others think that skincare products should have the same pH as our skin, which is between 4.5 to 5.6. The skin's natural pH is slightly acidic, which is around 4.5 to 5.6, but like I mentioned earlier, it varies in different skin types. So it is a good target pH for your products too. However, the correct pH for your skincare products is determined by the ingredients in your product formula. In particular, if you're using natural preservatives, you will need to adjust the pH of your product so that it is within the optimal range for your preservative to be effective. Some people worry about using a product that isn't within the pH range of our skin. But the thing is, our skin actually has a mechanism of balancing its pH. Even if you wash your face with a product that has a pH of 8, the skin's natural pH levels will still be restored over time. Why do you need to measure and adjust the pH of skincare products? The pH of natural skincare products is very important if you're using any pH sensitive ingredients like naturally derived preservatives or certain active ingredients. Almost all of the naturally derived preservatives have very strict pH requirements to ensure they work properly, which means measuring and adjusting the pH is necessary when protecting your product with natural preservatives. Preservatives active at a lower pH can lose their efficacy quite quickly when the pH increases. For instance, potassium sorbate is active at about 70% at pH 4.5 and it's about 35% at pH 5. Now, if your product is above pH 5, just know that you've not protected your product at all. Also, if you're using certain active ingredients, you would need to be aware of the pH of your product. AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, need pH 4 or lower to be active as chemical exfoliants. Ascorbic acid requires a pH below 3.5 to be active. Now beware of all these DIY recipes that tell you because ascorbic acid is unstable that you can tweak the pH to about 5 or 6 to make it stable. That is a lie because it would not work in that pH. It needs to be around 3.5 to be active. This is why we use other derivatives instead. Niacinamide is most stable at pH 6. If you're making a product with niacinamide, it has to be at pH 6. Always check with your supplier of active ingredients what pH levels are needed for each specific ingredient you're getting from them. How do you measure the pH of skincare products? After this video, I'm going to attach 2 videos where you're going to see the 2 different ways that you can test or measure the pH of your skincare products with pH strips and the other with a pH meter.
The two options for measuring pH are pH strips and a pH meter, and there are pros and cons to each. Now let's talk about measuring pH using pH strips. The advantages are it is inexpensive, it is simple to use, it is easily accessible, and it can be used for all product types, including emulsions. The disadvantages include not being very precise. It only provides a rough estimate. Several consequent measurements are needed to adjust the pH, so you may end up using many pH strips for just one product. Let's talk about measuring pH using a pH meter. The advantage of this is it gives precise measurements up to 1 decimal point, but the disadvantages are it is expensive, it needs regular cleaning and proper storage for it to be accurate, it requires calibration before use, and an additional emulsion probe may be needed if you want to get accurate pH measurement of emulsions. For beginners, pH strips can be a very great choice, but when you want to become more professional, you need to learn how to use a pH meter. Now let's talk about how to use and care for a pH meter. pH meters are very delicate pieces of equipment requiring special care during and after use, such as proper cleaning and storing in a special solution. They also need to be effectively calibrated prior to use to ensure they give an accurate reading. You can get tips on how to calibrate it when you purchase a new pH meter. It's going to come with a manual on how to calibrate your pH meter. It's quite easy to follow. Let's talk about how to adjust the pH of your natural skincare product. Testing the pH is just the first step. The next step is to adjust it if need be. These are the following steps you need to follow. 1. Create an appropriate pH adjustment solution to increase or decrease the pH. If you use sodium hydroxide, you need to do this with a lot of care as it is extremely caustic. After all, it's called caustic soda. 2. You have to record the amount of the adjustment solution that you use to adjust the pH to the desired measurement. In your formulator's diary, of course. 3. You have to rewrite your formula to include the pH adjuster. Well, since you're learning from us, we always include pH adjusters in our formulas, and we indicate QS, which is quantum sufficient, which means just as much as needed. And with that, you've come to the end of this lesson. See you in your next lesson.